Myself, Bhumika Sharma. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Analytical Instrumentation. Today's topic is UV Visible Spectroscopy, Part 2, Instrumentation. The basic components of UV visible spectrometer are source of radiation, monochromator, sample holder, detector, and signal processor. We'll discuss each one of them separately. We'll start with source of radiation. For UV visible spectrometer, basically two types of radiations are used, two types of sources are used. First is deuterium lamp and the second is tungsten lamp. Deuterium lamp lies in the spectral region from 160 to 375 nanometer or ultraviolet region. Uh, there we can use hydrogen or deuterium lamp for ultraviolet region, but deuterium lamp is more widely used because it is more intense. It provides more intense EMR radiations. Deuterium lamp consists of a cylindrical tube in which deuterium is there at low pressure, and there is a quartz window from which the radiation exits. Basically, when we apply electrical energy to the lamp, the deuterium gets stimulated and it produces excited molecules. And when it turns towards its ground state, it emits ultraviolet photons. The next are tungsten filament lamp, which produce wavelength from the region of 320 to 2500 nanometer. Uh, we need only 320 to 800 nanometer for visible region. Right, so these lamps are operated at 2900 Kelvin. The demerit of these lamps are the lifetime is very less due to sublimation of tungsten. So to overcome this demerit, we use tungsten halogen lamps. We add a small amount of iodine within the quartz envelope so that it will allow the filament to be operated at 3500 Kelvin, and also it increases the lifetime of the lamp. How? Uh, with the iodine molecule, tungsten reacts and forms tungsten iodide. These molecules then diffuse back to the hot filament where tungsten get redeposited and it releases iodine. Collimator. Collimator provides a uniform path to the electromagnetic radiation. That is, it made the electromagnetic radiation parallel, and by using lenses, mirrors, and slits. The optical materials, that is the cell, window, lens, or mirror, are made up so that it may not absorb the radiation in the UV visible region. That is why ordinary silicate glass is used for visible region. Glass is used for visible region made up of silicon oxide. Now, for UV visible region, these glass start absorbing radiation below 380 nanometer, so that we can use quartz apart from glass for UV region. To minimize the light loss, the mirrors are aluminized on their front surface. And there are two basic slits are there: entrance slit and exit slit. The main function is to convert the polychromatic radiation into the monochromatic radiation. Commonly used wavelength selectors for UV visible spectrometers are grating monochromators. Apart from this, we have filter photometers, interferometers, and prism monochromators. Filter photometers are basically of two types: absorption filter and interference filter. Absorption filter, in which colored glass or dyed gelatin is sandwiched between glass plates. The best example to understand absorption filter is, you might have seen some people on Diwali wrap their bulbs with colored papers, right? So that these bulbs emit colorful radiations, right? So if we use green filter, so we'll get the green radiation. Apart from this, we will also get the other radiation, but in lesser intensity. So the bandwidth is very narrow. And interference filters. In these type of filters, two glass plates are there. From inside, they are coated with metal, photoemissive metals, and are filled with dielectric constant, example calcium fluoride. Interference is a phenomena in which two waves combine to form a new wave, right? So there are constructive and destructive interferences. So if we use green interference filter, we will get the green light passed. So if we compare both these filters, interference filter is more suitable, but it is very expensive. Now moving on to the prism monochromators, as we all know about the dispersion of white light through prism, uh, shorter wavelengths are refracted more strongly than the longer wavelengths. That is why blue light get refracted more than the red one. Now, grating monochromators, as I have already discussed, that there are 1200 to 1500 grooves in a grating monochromators. Earlier, these grooves were made by using diamond point ruling machines. Each groove is made once at a time. So you can understand that it is a very time consuming process. Now at present, replica gratings are made. Sorry. There is an optically flat and polished surface known as master. The replicas are made by casting, the liquid resin is casted onto the master, and then these replicas are coated with aluminium or gold in order to reflect it, in order to make the replica reflecting. But these replica gratings are replaced by holographic gratings, in which we use a pair of mutually interfering laser beams to develop a film of photoresist on a glass surface. The photoresist is cutted into grooved structures and is coated with a reflective metallic film. The resulting grating produce more perfect line shapes and provide spectra with reduced stray light. Figure A shows prism monochromator and figure B shows grating monochromator that I've already discussed in detail in my previous video. Now the monochromatic radiation will be passed through the sample holder, or we can say the cuvette. Cuvettes are used for handling liquid samples. Their shape may vary from rectangular or cylindrical, and also their sizes. As you can see here, it is broad from the top and narrower from the bottom. Its surface should be clean. Uh, it is uh, it is free from fingerprints. So that there are many chemical compounds present in our fingerprints like amino acids, carbs, so that it will not absorb the radiation, so that the qubits should be completely clean. You can clean the qubits using distilled water or diluted alcohol. After the radiation passes through the sample holder or the sample, it will reach to the detector. Detectors can be of the following types: phototube detector. In a phototube detector, there is a concave cathode. It is made up of like a photoemissive material is coated on it. Photoemissive material, what it does is when photon beam strikes the surface, it will emit electrons. So these electrons get attracted towards the anode and then reach the amplifier. So it will depend upon the photon beam reaching, the intensity of the radiation. If there is an absorbing analyte in, say for example, 280 nanometer, so the photon beam at this particular wavelength will be less, so less electrons will be generated and the signal will be amplified by the amplifier. Photomultiplier tubes are ideal devices for measuring low power radiation in which there is a cathode and anode. Apart from this, there are electrodes that are known as diodes present in between. These diodes increase the number of photons as a single photon will reach to, to the first diode, it gets deflected to the another and cause in the increase in electron number should be there. The potential increases, the potential increases with the increase in the number of diodes, so that from a single photon we can get as many as 10 to the power 6 to the 10 to the power 7 electron using a series of 9 to 10 diodes. Now, the another type of detector is photodiode. There is two types of diodes. There are two types of diodes, P type and N type. In P type, there is an impurity within the silicon moiety, which creates hole by like accepting the electron from the silicon, right? And in N type, there is a impurity which release electron to the moiety, right? So this is the N type and this is the P type. P-N junction is the area where these electrons and these holes are present simultaneously. In photodiode detector, a reverse bias, that is voltage of cathode is higher than the that of anode. The p-n junction is formed in the silicon chip. There is a depletion region on which these holes or electrons are present. The number of holes or electrons will depend on the intensity of radiation, right? So these produces a current that is proportional to the incident radiation power. As I have already discussed that if there is an absorbing species at a 280 nanometer, the incident radiation would be less, so the current would be less. It gets stimulated. In CCD or charged couple device, uh, on a silicon surface, there are photosensitive elements known as pixels. Photons incident on this surface generate charge and it can be read out by the amplifier and get the and from the amplifier it will move towards the recorder. Charge transfer, these are basically charge transfer detectors, or you can say multi-channel detectors. Their main advantage is their speed. They can measure a complete range of wavelengths simultaneously. From the amplifier, the signals will reach to the signal processor. Most spectrophotometers come either with built-in processors or interfacing to a personal computer. What is the role of signal processor? The computer controls the operating settings, it gives the commands, it adjusts the slits, sets the scan times, turn on and off the light sources, radiation sources. I must have used this word instead. Uh, it acquire and store the spectral data and convert the data from transmission to absorbance. It may also subtract a background spectrum from the raw data. Background spectrum means without putting the analyte into it, blank you can say. In addition, the computer may have access to a spectral library from which we can compare the spectra of the standards and with the unknown samples, of unknown samples with the standards. Uh, the It also smooth the spectra to reduce the noise as well as to subtract one spectrum from another. Uh, UV visible spectrometers are of two types, single beam and double beam. In, sing in single beam spectrometer, uh, we have to there is only one slot, so we have to analyze the sample and the reference separately. Whereas in double beam UV visible spectrometer, the radiation gets divided into two with the help of mirrors, and one part of the radiation will reach to the reference and the other part will reach to the sample, and then the signals will be recorded by the detector and then the recorder. Now, NIST standard reference materials for spectrophotometers. NIST is National Institute of Standards and Technology. The property tested, the material used, and the wavelength region is given in this table. For transmittance, glass filters are used that provides wavelength in the region of 440 to 635. For absorbance, liquid filters are used that provides wavelength in the region of 302 to 678. For path length, quartz cuvette is used that do not absorb any light. For UV absorbance, potassium dichromate is used that lies within the wavelength region of 235 to 350 and so on. So we have discussed source of radiations, that are deuterium and tungsten lamp, and also tungsten halogen lamp. We have discussed about the monochromators, filter photometers, absorption and interference filters, prism monochromator, diffraction grating, which is of two type, which can be of two type, replica grating and holographic grating. We have discussed about sample holder, cuvettes, detectors, that are photodiode, photomultiplier tube, photovoltaic detectors, CCD, and at last the signal processor. These are the references, you can go through them, and thank you. I forgot to discuss one thing in my previous video, that although chromophores exhibit pi to pi star or n to pi star region transition, but they cannot be detected independently. Why? Because there is only one double or triple bond is present that lies in the range of wavelength region of 175 to 200 nanometer. That is why they are just used to increase the conjugation and hence for the bathochromic shift. For more details, you can watch my previous video. The link is given in the description box. Thank you.